If your nonfiction thought leadership book that you are writing or have already published doesn't make these three critical emotional connections with your reader, you are wasting your time. Because without making these three critical emotional connections, your nonfiction thought leadership book will not reach the right readers, probably won't sell well because you're not reaching the right readers, won't help you convert readers into customers, and won't help you grow your brand and income opportunities in the way that you're hoping for. So you just gonna rip off the band-aid just like that? I said what I said. Well, alrighty then. So let's get into it. I'm Denise Renee, your business book bestie. Here is my signature book, and these are some of my clients. I help professionals write books that make their business, career, or thought leadership brand visible. Hey, business book besties, check the description box for timestamps and helpful links. So let's get right into the nitty gritty and say the quiet part out loud. So the first emotional connection that your book is probably missing is your book isn't helping your reader feel seen. The biggest mistake that you can make as a nonfiction book author, a thought leadership book author, a business book author, that biggest mistake is thinking that your book is all about you. Oh, we get high heavy today, baby. Yes, you are writing the book. Yes, you are the author. Yes, you're sharing your thoughts, your experiences, your expertise, your frameworks, your strategies. You're even sharing your stories of how you accomplished what you accomplished or how you helped others accomplish what they accomplished. But this is not for you to toot your own horn and be like, beep, beep, okay? It's about you, but it's not about you. Your book is for your reader, and you have to take a reader-centric approach to your writing and think of everything from your potential reader's perspective. Because let's be clear, nobody cares about you. Yes, I'm coming in hot today. Not to be mean and nasty, but to be realistic so that you can make better choices. Because let's be honest, you don't even care about me. I'm not mad about that. I understand what this is. If you know me, if you my mama, if you a friend that I know in real life, or if you're a client that we've gotten the opportunity to get to know each other and work with each other, then yeah, you care about me. But if you are none of those things, the only thing you care about right now is the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? And do the words that are coming out of my mouth relate to you? Am I helping you? Am I sharing something that you really need to know? Am I sharing something that's going to help you write the best book you could possibly write? I ate that up, didn't I? Yes, I did. That's what you care about. You care about what I can do for you through this video. And that's the same thing with your book. Your reader only cares about you, the author, in as much as you are able to help them solve whatever challenge that they came to your book, assuming that your book could solve. Center your reader. Who are they? What do they want to accomplish? What's their particular challenge in trying to accomplish that goal or goals? And how does what you know, what your experiences are, what your stories are, what your frameworks are, what your strategies are, how are you able to help them overcome in that challenge? That is how you center your reader in your book. It's not just saying, oh, well, I went to this college and I accomplished this, and look at how great I am. Nobody cares about that. And unless you are a celebrity and you already have a good, sizable audience of people who are expecting a book from you, nobody knows you from a can of paint. So you are starting from scratch, introducing yourself to people. So they want to know what's in it for them. Why should they come up off of their $20 to purchase and read or listen to your book? What will they get out of it? And that has to be your mindset before you even write your first word. If your reader doesn't feel centered in your book or in your story, they're not going to stick around to read the whole thing and get to know you, like you, trust you, and be prepared to buy from you. So it behooves you, a nice, good old fashioned word, it behooves you to make sure that you narrowly focus your attention before you write the first word. Understand that your book is not for everyone. God, I hate it when authors tell me that. You need to pick the right customer and problem avatar that matches up with your skill set, expertise, experiences, stories, frameworks, etc. Center the problem that you solve in your book so that your reader can mentally fill in the gap that, hey, this author knows what they're talking about. I feel like they see and they understand what I'm going through. Very likely, they can help me through this. All right. That's how your reader is going to see themselves in your story, in your book. Do not paint yourself as the hero. You are not the hero of your book. Your reader is. Okay? You are not Luke Skywalker. You are Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are not Neo. You are Morpheus. You ain't any of the three original Charlie's Angels that I grew up with back in the 70s, honey. You Bosley. Okay? You ain't Olivia Pope. You Quinn. You're not Annalise Keating. You're Bonnie. All right? Spoken like a true latchkey kid who watched way too much TV in her life. Okay? You are not the hero. You are the guide. That is how you position yourself and your reader in the book. Now, if you are in the middle of writing your book, or possibly if you already wrote and published a book and it didn't perform the way you hoped it would perform, that's okay. You can always re edit a book, retitle it, repackage it, and sell it again. Okay? You're not starting from scratch, but we may need to tweak something. And if you're not sure that you have picked the right customer and problem avatar, it is the very first step of my 4 steps to start writing your book system. And if you haven't heard me talk about that before, head on over to 4steps to startwriting.com to grab a free copy of my framework to begin reshaping how you are shaping your book. All right. It's an absolutely free download at the number 4steps, the number 2, startwriting.com. Now, if you feel like I'm dropping some truth bombs on you that you probably haven't heard any other writing coach share before, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that this video can go out to more people like yourself who need to hear it. Also, drop your questions in the comments because I do respond. All right. So the second emotional connection that your book may not be making is your reader doesn't feel like they can do what it is that you were showing them how to do in your book. Listen, when people do not feel like they can do something, they're out of there. I had an interesting situation just a few days ago in my W 2 job because, yes, I trade my time for some health insurance. Okay. I am still growing my business and getting health insurance as a solo business owner expensive. All right. All right. So I was speaking to a customer who wanted, let's say, they wanted outcome Z. They were expecting that if they did A, they would get outcome Z. I had to educate them and let them know, well, you either have to do L or you have to do P. The A is not a factor. And because they weren't quite ready to hear any alternatives, I could hear the customer getting really frustrated and confused and overwhelmed. And so I wasn't surprised when, in the middle of me explaining something to them for the third time, I found myself talking to myself. And I was like, okay, they'll call back when they're ready to hear and understand. That's the same thing that will happen with your reader, AKA your potential new customer. If they don't think that they can do what it is that you're sharing with them in the book, they're going to hang up. All right. They're going to stop reading. They're going to feel overwhelmed. And they're like, well, that was you. Okay. My circumstances are different. Well, that was them. That was that client over there that you helped. My circumstances are different. I can't see myself doing this. I'm out. And if they're out and they don't finish reading your book, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to become your client. Simple as that. Now, there could be quite a number of reasons why you're not making a connection with the reader, AKA your potential customer. It could be like the situation with the customer that I experienced a few days ago. They may not be ready to hear what you have to say. You might be catching them a little too early in their journey. And that's why picking the right customer slash problem avatar is so important. You don't want to get somebody who is just too brand new and they don't understand what you're saying. Neither do you need someone way beyond your help. We're looking for that sweet spot. And I know that could be a little bit tricky to kind of navigate and identify, but that's part of business, right? It's also very important that when you're breaking down concepts and explaining things and using examples and telling your stories, you want to make it as simple as possible for your reader to follow along. You may need to narrow the scope of your book. One of the things that I often get as an editor is someone's coming to me with a book idea and they have a manuscript draft. And once I've given them an editorial assessment, I'm like, the concepts in here are great. However, you're trying to do too much in one book. You've got two or three different books in here. You should make this a series. Each book needs to focus on one central idea and helping that customer reader avatar solve one specific problem. So you may have a scoping problem, boring it on there. For example, me as a ghostwriter, manuscript editor, writing coach, I understand that there's so much to the book writing and publishing process, but I don't really focus my attention on the entire process. I know that my skills and expertise are in the writing process. And so most of my content is about the writing process. I had a prospective client ask me this past week, hey, well, so what do you do for formatting and book printing and et cetera, et cetera? And I was like, yeah, after that manuscript is edited and done, you are on your own. But I understand and I know my lane. And I have people in companies that I can refer and say, hey, go here because they specialize in this. So go there because they can help you with that. I'm not going to try to tell you everything that needs to be done. And the things that I feel that I need to address, I do so in my podcast called the Sell Your Book Podcast, because I know that that is a very important part of the whole ecosystem of being an author, but it's not necessarily my area of expertise. And I don't feel like I'm the one who should be giving you advice. So I bring on people who have more experience and expertise in that area, and I interview them so that you can learn from them. And you have to take a similar approach. Understand what your lane is and stay in it. Okay? And make sure that your reader is having a focused and digestible meal. Don't try to serve them the entire smorgasbord of solutions that you could possibly present. And if you didn't know that I have a podcast, which is currently on hiatus, it is a playlist here on my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link for it down below in the description box. Definitely worth checking out and listening to multiple times. Okay, and the third emotional connection that your book may not be making with your reader is your reader might not actually be enjoying reading your book, so they don't finish it. Don't shoot the messenger. So, no, nonfiction books are not novels, but they kind of have to read like one. Okay. It doesn't mean that your book has to be bland and boring because you're talking about facts, figures, and charts and graphs and boring business stuff. Absolutely not. People are passionate about what they are passionate about. Whatever that problem is that you're solving, whether you're helping them in business, in career, or an issue with their life, you're passionate about your business, you're passionate about helping them. They're passionate about solving whatever problem it is that you can help them solve. And you have to tap into the emotion of that thing. So you can't just say, well, here are the 4 steps to start writing your book. Okay, you can, but we got to make that a bit more exciting because if you are not gripping your reader like instantly, they're out of there. I mean, think of your own viewing habits while you're scrolling on social media, while you're watching a video, while you're watching a movie. Those first couple of minutes are everything. I mean, Just this afternoon, I saw a title flash up on my Roku TV, and it was a Black movie. It was a title I'd never seen before, actors I'd never seen before. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll give this a chance because I like to discover new Black voices in cinema and in writing. I tried, y'all. I tried. Man, oh man. I gave it a good 15 minutes before I checked out. What was the problem? There was nothing gripping about the story. Like the blurb or the summary of the story was way more interesting and exciting, but right at the beginning, it did not pull me in. I saw a character, and all I saw her doing was just getting ready for her day, doing her hair, her makeup, getting dressed. She got to her job, her office, and she was kind of mean. And then we see another character come in, and they're just, you know, child. It was one of these lower budget movies, and I'm like, "Okay, the lighting is off and the acting is wooden, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna give it a chance." But beyond just getting a few characters and a little bit of context, they failed to give me a conflict. I had no idea what this movie was supposed to be about or supposed to be building towards. They did not strike my curiosity. They did not spark my care. I couldn't care less about this girl. Actually, I was like, well, you kind of mean. And I couldn't do it. And the same thing happens when readers are picking up a new book. If they're not emotionally engaged, if they're not understanding why they should care, they're out. You'll hear me say over and over in my content that there are 5 C's of every good story: character, care, context, challenge, and conclusion. And if you notice, as I described the movie that I saw earlier, we only had character and context. There was no challenge that I could see, and there was no reason for me to care to stick around long enough to see the conclusion. You've got to present your book in an emotionally gripping way so that readers are engaged from beginning to end. Strategically telling transformational stories throughout your book will make the facts, figures, charts, graphs, statistics, etc., more enjoyable to read. It'll give it great context. It'll help you care because they'll be able to see how this kind of played out and how this had real world consequences for yourself or for the other people that you're mentioning that you were able to help. As you also will hear me say often in my content, more transformational stories have to do 3 things: make a connection, transfer an emotion, and influence a decision. Without your book making the right emotional connections with your readers inside of your book, you're going to have a hard time selling your book. You're going to have a hard time converting the few readers that you may have into paying customers. And you're not going to be accelerating your brand growth the way you want to. Storytelling is the emotional heartbeat of any and every book, especially nonfiction, thought leadership, business books. So you have to dedicate yourself to improving your storytelling. How exactly do you do that? I'm so glad you asked. Watch this storytelling masterclass. It's going to give you everything that you need to start telling better stories the minute you click off. So click on the video now to watch this free masterclass, and I'll see you on the other side.